राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for the Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we are discussing the advice given by the sages to King Vena. The sages, the Brahmanas suppressed their anger, and first they wanted to have an open discussion with King Vena. They said that please understand what we will reveal to you. You will have increase of life, wealth, strength, and fame if you listen to our instructions. And then they said, when men perform dharma by words, mind, body, and intelligence, the whole world becomes free of misery. And for those without attachment, there is liberation. So, last week we discussed we just began this discussion. So when we talk about the dharma, because in this shloka it is said that when people perform dharma by words, mind, body, and intelligence, the whole world becomes free of misery. In the current times, oftentimes the environment is created in such a way that one feels reluctant to even use the word dharma. The environment is created in such a way that the word dharma itself is a sectarian word. That kind of environment is being created. But dharma means that which actually sustains our life, that which sustains this world. Let us discuss some quotations related to the word dharma. So, in the Manusmriti, it is said that dharana dharma ityahu dharmo dharayate praja. That which is holding this world, sustaining this world is called a dharma. Yasmad dharayate sarvam trailokyam sa characharam. Those activities which sustain all the three worlds, including the moving and non-moving entities, they are called as dharma. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha dharmohiteshu ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashubirnaranam dharmohiteshu adhiko visheshu dharmena hina pashubis samana. Eating, mating, sleeping, and defending are common for both human beings and animals. The special, unique attribute of a human being is that human being can perform dharma. When the human being does not practice dharma, he is nothing but a two-legged animal. When Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Bhishma Dev about what is dharma, Bhishma Dev replies. He says, Tadrushoyam anuprashno yatra dharma sudurlabha dushkara pratisankyatum tatkenatra vyavasyati. The question you have put to me is a difficult one because it is difficult to say what is dharma. It is not easy to describe it. No one describing dharma can describe it accurately. And then he said, Prabhavarthaya bhutanam dharma pravachanam kritam yahasyat prabhava samyukta sadharma iti nishchaya. Dharma is declared for the aggrandizement and growth of all creatures, for the advancement of all creatures. So what brings on advancement and growth is called dharma. So people say, oh, practicing dharma will make a person progress in the backward direction. But according to the great authority Bhishma, dharma brings about the growth of all creatures. Dharanad, dharma mityahur, dharmena vidruta prajaha, yahasya dharana samyukta sadharma iti nishchayah. Dharma was declared for preventing creatures from injuring one another. Therefore, dharma is that which prevents injury to other creatures. Ahimsartaya bhutanam dharma pravachanam kritam yahasyad himsa samprukta sadharma iti nishchayah. Dharma is also so called because it maintains all creatures. The same point, dharma is what is capable of upholding all creatures. So in this way, the dharma is actually described in the Shastra. Unlike the modern narratives in which the dharma is portrayed as some sectarian word, dharma will result in the downfall of a person. It will not help a person to advance in life. Like that, this kind of narrative is actually given. One more shloka related to dharma. Some more shloka is that. Yasya dharma vihinani dinan yanti yanti cha sa lohakara vastreva shwasannapi na jivati. For the person whose days pass without dharma, his life is wasted. Although he continues to breathe, he is like a blacksmith's bellows, which only blows air but has no true life within it. That means a person who does not practice dharma is like a living dead person. Like a living dead person. Another shloka. About dharma. Yeah, maybe I'm not getting that shloka. In this way, there are so many shlokas in relation to dharma actually. That is why the entire Bhagavad Gita, the turning point in the Bhagavad Gita is Karpanya dosho pakata swabhava pruchamitvam dharma sammuda cheta. When Arjuna was confused about dharma, then he surrendered to Krishna. Then Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. Now, Krishna says, Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharma Swanishtitat. Swadharme Nidanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha. It is better to die while performing on Swadharma instead of performing somebody else. Even while performing one's dharma imperfectly, even if a person dies in the course of performing one's swadharma imperfectly, it is better than performing somebody else's dharma perfectly. So that is how dharma is emphasized in the Gita. So many shlokas in the Gita are related to dharma. So therefore, here the sages are saying that when people perform dharma with their body, mind and words, they'll become free from misery. Now 16th shloka, can repeat after me. Sate ma vinashed
Tate ma vinashetira
prajanam kshema lakshanah
prajanam kshema lakshanaha
yasmin vinashte nripatihi
yasmin vinashte nripapatir
aishwaryadavarohati.
aishver aishweryadavarohati. O great hero. Okay, 1 minute. The sages continued, O great hero, for this reason, you should be the cause of spoiling the spiritual life of the
You should
general
not be
populace.
you should not be the cause of.
Okay. You should not be the cause of spoiling the spiritual life of the general populace. If their spiritual life is spoiled because of your activities, you will certainly fall down from your opulent and royal position.
So they are saying that Ma vinashet, do not destroy dharma. Prajanam kshema lakshanah, because dharma brings benefit to the citizens. Prajanam kshema lakshana. And yasmin vinashte, if dharma is destroyed, nripatihi aishwaryat avarohati, the king will fall from his position. Very clear instruction. So, Prabhupada says that formerly there were monarchies in almost everywhere in the part of the world, in everywhere throughout the world. But gradually, as monarchy declined from the ideal life of religion to the godless life of sense gratification, monarchies were abolished. But simply abolishing monarchy and replacing it with the democracy is not sufficient. Unless the government men are religious and follow in the footsteps of great religious personalities. So when the monarchs were not following dharma and they were exploiting the people by using their power, the monarchy was abolished. But then if you simply replace another system, monarchy with a democracy, but in the democracy, if the people who are dharmic are not elected, then this system will also not solve the problem. Democracy, okay, everyone is allowed to vote. Anybody can become the prime minister or chief minister, etc. But the people who are voting, if they have the dharmic bent of mind, then they will choose a leader who is devoted to dharma. But if the people who are voting, at least the predominant people are having a dharmic bent of mind, they can still choose here. It's likely that a dharmic leader can be chosen. But if the predominance of the people, majority of the people if they are not having a dharmic bent of mind, if they are more interested in the artha, then we cannot expect a government which will favor dharma. We cannot expect a leader. Like practically nowadays, the whole politics is going on like in freebies actually everywhere. So that shows that people are more concerned about artha than dharma. If you say that, okay, if we come to our power, we will build temples, we will restore the temples, we will say start the Gurukul education, and we'll start religious this one. Then you will not be able to attract majority of the people. Rather, if you say, okay, if we say every month women will get 1,000 rupees in Tamil Nadu, something like that. And then they have come up with more. Students will get some every month this many amounts of 1,000 rupees, something. Now elderly people will get certain money, extra money every year. So like that, if you are giving this kind of attractive proposals, then they are likely to vote for you. That means just by that, based on the demand supplies, that means what is in demand in the market, people are interested in artha than the dharma. That's how the Kali Yuga is progressing. Dharma is made subordinate to artha. So, therefore, in such a kind of a system, the majority of the people are interested in only artha and kama. When they elect the leaders, then the government will not be religious. Just before the election in Tamil Nadu, you'll see the maximum sale in the liquor shops will happen. Because government, the different political parties, they purchase liquor and they give feast liquor and other things to different people, common people, in order to gratify their senses so that they will vote for us. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada rightly called democracy as demon crazy. Some crazy demons have created this system. राजन्नसात्वमात्येभ्यः
राजन् असाध्वमातेभ्यश्च
चोरात् राजन्
राजन्
असाध्वमात्येभ्यः
असाध्वमातेभ्यश्च
चोरादिभ्य प्रजा नृपः
दिव्य प्रजा नृप
रक्षन् यथा बलिं गृह्णन्
रक्षन् यथा बलिं गृह्णन्
इह प्रेत्य स मोदते.
इह प्रेत्य समोदते. Translation: The saintly persons continued, when the king protects the citizens from the disturbances of mischievous ministers as well as from thieves and rogues, he can, by virtue of such pious activities, accept taxes given by his subjects. Thus, a pious king can certainly enjoy himself in this world as well as in the life after death.
Rajan asad amatyebhyah choradibhya prajanrapah. The king protects the citizens from two people. Asadu amatyebhyah. Amatya means ministers. And asadu is the adjective for that. Amatyebhyah means from the ministers. What kind of ministers? From the rogue ministers. King protect the citizens from the rogue ministers or the corrupt ministers. And Choradibhya, from the thieves. So this is the responsibility of the king toward the citizens. And then what facility he gets from the citizens? Rakshan yata balim krishnan. He accepts the taxes accordingly. So iha pretyacha modate. In this way, he enjoys in this world and also in the next world. Iha pretya. In this world and in the next world. So you see, this shloka talks about what is the, you can say, the rights and the duties of the king. The king has a right to tax the citizens, provided he performs the duty of giving protection to the citizens. And giving protection to the citizens from two people, external enemies like the thieves, and also from the internal enemies from the government, the rogue ministers. Sometimes it may be easier to give protection from the external enemies, but it's more difficult to give protection from the internal enemies. Like if we see even the current scenario, for example, the present government, they gave befitting reply during the Uri attack or the Pahalgam attack. After that, they gave befitting reply. They definitely need to be appreciated for giving showing proper protection from the external enemies. But what about the internal enemies? But if you think that they definitely failed, because in last 12, 13 years of power, how many corrupt people were arrested and put behind the bar? There were so many people who had done corruption from the previous government. But how many people were put behind the bars? No, practically not even a single person, hardly any. No. So from that point of view, from the internal enemies, maybe not needs to be done. Not much was done. Currently, there is in the news that in the Bihar chief minister, the new chief minister who is going to take oath, it is said that he has a criminal record. Like that's how the news is floating. I don't know more detail. But the point is that sometimes in this part, giving protection to the citizens from the corrupt ministers, that is a more difficult part that requires, unless the leader is really devoted to dharma and justice, he cannot punish the people in his own government who are corrupt. He will not be able to punish. Rather, he will favor them. So therefore, this shloka talks about both the rights and the duties of the king. So generally, the materialistic conception, people are more interested in the rights and they are careless about performing their duties. They don't want to perform their duties, but they are very particular about claiming their rights. That is but the materialistic consciousness is that they are more concerned about how much I can get to the society than about how much I'm going to contribute to the society. But a dharmic person thinks more about how much he is contributing to the society. That his contribution to the society should be more than how much he has got from the society. That is the nature of a responsible dharmic person. So the Prabhupada gives a detailed purport here. The duty of a king is described very nicely, is to give protection for the citizens, protection to the citizens from the thieves and rogues, as well as from the ministers who are no better than the thieves and rogues. Formerly, ministers were appointed by the king and were not elected. So if the king was not very pious or strict, the ministers would become thieves and rogues and exploit the innocent citizens. It is the king's duty to see that there is no increase of thieves and rogues either in the government secretariat or in the departments of public affairs. If a king cannot give protection to citizens from the thieves and rogues, both in the government service and in public affairs, he has no right to exact taxes from them. In other words, the king or the government, the taxes, can levy taxes from the citizens only if the government is able to give protection to the citizens from the thieves and rogues. The 12th canto, it is described that Prajaste Bhakshayushyanti Mlecha Rajanya Rupinah. In the Kali Yuga, the Malechas will take the position of the kings and they will literally devour the citizens by putting so much of tax. On the other hand, and their subjects, on the other hand, will cultivate the most vicious practices. So thus practicing evil habits and behaving foolishly, the subjects will be like the rulers. So therefore, the democratic days of Kali Yuga will fall down to the standard of the Shudras. Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. A Shudra is somebody who is only fit to work for the higher three social castes. So they are not very intelligent. When such people elect the leaders, they can only elect a person in their category. But government cannot run very well when it is run by the Shudras. So the second class of men, known as Kshatriyas, are especially meant for governing a country under the direction of saintly persons who are supposed to be very intelligent. So, in the previous yugas, the general common people were also very dharmic. Therefore, the head of the government was never elected. The king was the supreme executive personality, and if he caught any ministers stealing like thieves and rogues, he would at once have them killed or dismissed from the service. The king is supposed to show loyalty to the principles of dharma than to the person. The loyalty to the principles of dharma to be the highest priority. So, the Prabhupada is mentioning. When you see Krishna Leela, Krishna offered protection to the devotees from the external demons like Putana, Shakatasura, Nadavarta, Arishtasura, Keshi, Kamsa, etc., Jarasandha. And Krishna also protected the Brajavasis from Indra. Indra was appointed by Krishna himself, but because Krishna did not kill Indra, but Krishna protected the Brajavasis even from Indra. So therefore, that this is the duty of a king. Next shloka. Yasya rashtre pure chaiva
यस्य राष्ट्रे पुरे चैव
Bhagavan yajna purushah
भगवान् यज्ञपुरुषः
Ijyate svena dharmena
युज्यते स्वेन धर्मेण
जनैर्वर्णाश्रमान्वितैः.
जनैर्वर्णाश्रमान्वितैः. Translation: the king is supposed to be pious, in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observes the system of 8 social orders of Varna and Ashrama, and where all citizens engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupations.
So here the sages are saying that Yasya Rashtra, in such a king's state and city, the Supreme Lord, who is Yajna Purusha, the master of sacrifices, is worshipped by the people, executing their individual natures according to Varnashram. Ijyate Svena Dharmena Janair Varnashramanvitaihi. So in a proper king, the Lord is worshipped by the people according to the who will perform their Varnashram duties. So instead of Varnashramanvitaihi, sometimes Varnashramatmakaihi is also seen. The meaning is same, I think. Varnashramatmakaihi. So that means the minds of the people are absorbed in Varnashrama. So here, Prabhupada says the state's duty and the citizen's duty, both are nicely explained. The previous verse described the king's duty. And what is the duty of the citizens? That they have to perform their Varnashram duties. So, general tendency is that we want others to perform their duty, but we are not careful about performing our duties. So, both the king and the citizens, they should live in such a way that everyone engages in devotional service to the Lord. So, the king or the government head is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is therefore supposed to see that things go on nicely and that the citizens are situated in the Varnashram duties. So Vishnu Puran says that Varnashrama Charavata Purushena Parappuman Vishnur Aradyate Panta Nanya Tattosha Karana. By performing the Varnashram duties only, one can please Lord Vishnu. So the government should ensure that people are performing their Varnashram duties. When the government ensures that people are performing their Varnashram duties, then the management is decentralized. Say, for example, there was one article I read, very nice article, we can share that. It talks about the difference between the India and the West. In the West, the taking care of the old people or the taking care of the family members, the government has taken charge of it. Government gives the particular term for it. So the social security, social security government provides, but in India it is privatized. Privatize means individual families take care. So in the this article analyzes that the Paul Woodruff, he says that he has written a book called as Reverence. Reverence is a forgotten virtue in the modern society. Whereas the Western society celebrates irreverence. So modern economic theories and modern economic thinkers, they attribute high economic growth to the irreverent modernity. And they say those societies where they have reverence towards the elders, such society has a slow economic growth. Though those societies which have a irreverence towards the elders, they have a high economic growth. This is the thought process of the modern economic thinkers. So this is because of the Western civilization. So the Western civilization, Western economic thought process is founded based on individualism. So individual-centric Western society and a family-centric Dharmic society. So there is a clash between them. And in the Dharmic society, reverence for the parents is a core value in the traditional family system. So therefore, naturally, in the Dharmic society, people would be conscious of taking care of their parents. They don't want to deviate from that norm. But modernity will accuse the society of oppressing and infringing on the individual rights. The elders are not allowing the younger people to grow, like that they will accuse. So reverence is twined with the family and tradition, which depends on relations and duty. And when there is reverence, one does not think about one's rights, rather one thinks about one's duties. Whereas in modern society, it is resting on contractual marriage. It always talks about rights, equal rights, many concepts come. It underplays duty. And so in the America, this article was written in 2001, says that 55% of the first marriage, 67% of the second marriage, 74% of the third marriages end in divorce. Over 40% of the babies are born to unmarried women, and some 60% of the men and women are avoiding marriage. But still, many educated Indians think that modernity means only Western dress, English language, and urban living. But this is the situation of the Western society. But in comparison, how do the relationship-centric Dharmic societies, traditional societies, how do they fare? So if we take two areas, savings and social security. So in the family-based Asia, in the Dharmic society, it accounts for 3/4 of the global savings. But the individual-centric American society borrows almost the equal amount from the world. Why? Because American families have virtually lost their propensity to save. Because when the family is not there, when there is a stable family, then one feels the impetus to save for the future. But when the family system has collapsed, people don't want to save. Whatever is there, they want to spend immediately. So the family's share was 4/5 of the total American savings in the 1960. And by 2006, it went into minus 1/5. That means American families spent 20% more than their current income. What is the reason? The reason is erosion of the family values. So which undermined their family responsibilities and it dented the propensity to save. So like that, the many details are given, but I'm not going into all those details. And when you talk about social security, so the present value of the future social security burden of the America is estimated at over $100 trillion, more than 6 times the present American GDP. Because when the families disintegrated, the care of the parents and the elders and the unemployed, it fell on the state, which has virtually nationalized families through social security schemes. So in the 1980s itself, the America National Bureau of Economic Research had warned that if the government took over the traditional family duties through state-organized social security, serious erosion of the family values was inevitable. But on the other hand, the Asian families, they save a lot. And because of the high savings, social security to the aged people, unemployed people, and is provided by the families itself, not by the government. So, in this way, that when we talk about just based on these two values, savings and social security, we can see the difference between the family-based society and the modern Western society which is highly individualistic, which has irreverence towards the elders. So therefore, the traditional reverence for the parents and elders and the consequent duty and relation-based family life have made savings dynastic and moderated the consumption and funded the family-provided social security. But now the America is desperate that the social security be privatized because they are feeling the burden of it. But that would need recreating the traditional families. But that is not possible in the overnight because so many decades because of the Western culture, the traditional family values have been eradicated. So is the point. So why I'm mentioning here is that Srila Prabhupada says that how the citizens' duty is that they have to perform their Varnashram duties. King should give protection to the citizens from the rogue ministers and also from the thieves. So, Bhagavan Yajna Purusha. So, Krishna is the ultimate purpose of all sacrifice. He is therefore the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So, when people are situated in their Varna and Ashram and performing the duties to worship Vishnu, then there will be prosperity. So every citizen engaged in an occupation renders service by the resultant actions of his activities. Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmanatam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manava. That one must worship the Supreme Lord by one's performance of Varnashram duties. Sve sve karman yabirata samsiddhim labate naraha. Swakarma nirata siddhim yata vindati tachruna. By worship of the Lord, who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. So in this way, everyone can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. So therefore, the state or the government must not deviate from its duty by declaring that the state is a secular one, which has no interest in whether or not the people advance in Varnashram Dharma. So previously also we talked about how there are three kinds of atheism. Atheism in the name of secularism. Atheism in the name of religion. And atheism in the name of fighting for the rights. So today people have no respect for Varnashram Dharma. Again, the Varnashram Dharma, this also, the word itself is, if we use the word people, the narrative has been created as if it is such a negative system. And they try to portray that Varnashram system, you are following the caste system. And according to Varnashram system, Shudras come from the leg of the Supreme Lord. Brahmanas are from the head. This is what where Manusmriti says. Therefore, burn the Manusmriti. Like that, the people speak like that. So when they complacently feel the state is secular, but in such a government, no one can be happy. The people must follow the Varnashram Dharma, and the king must see that they are following it nicely. Tasya rajyo mahabhaga bhagavan bhuta bhavanaha परितुष्यति विश्वात्मा तिष्ठतो निज शासने. So here the sages are saying that the Supreme Lord, the protector of the people, Bhuta Bhavanaha, who is the soul of the universe, is satisfied, Paritushyati, when the king follows his instruction. Tishtato Nija Shasane. The king follows his instruction, the Supreme Lord will be satisfied. So the government's duty is to see that the Lord is satisfied with the activities of the people as well as with the activities of the government. So there is no possibility of the happiness if the government or citizens have no idea of Bhagavan, who is the original cause of the cosmic manifestation. Or if they have no knowledge of the Bhuta Bhavana, who is Vishwatma, there is no possibility of happiness. Therefore, the goal is that one has to make Bhagavan as a center, and one must try to perform everything for the pleasure of the Bhagavan. So at the present moment, neither the king nor the governing body is interested in seeing that the people are engaged in devotional service. Rather, they are more interested in advancing the machinery of sense gratification. So therefore, they are becoming more and more implicated in the complex machinery of the stringent laws of nature. This is a highly complicated situation. There was a photo, one picture I saw. So the Prime Minister Modi is showing extreme reverence to Ambedkar's statue and offering pranam to Ambedkar's statue. So we can see from Ram Puja, he has also, along with Ram Puja, he also had to do Bhim Puja. Bhimrao Ambedkar. So this is how the democracy system has created such a compulsion that even if the king or the head of the government, even if he does not have faith in that person, he will have to portray, he will have to show that he is worshipping Bhim like Ram. That is how the society, the common society has compelled the leader to behave in a particular way. Because that's a democracy society. So people should be freed from the entanglement of the three modes of nature, and the only process by which this is possible is surrender to the Supreme Lord. This advice in the Gita. So currently nobody has either the government nor the people have any idea of this. They're simply interested in sense gratification. So therefore, Nija Shastra indicates that both the government and the citizens are responsible for executing Varnashram Dharma. Once the populace is situated in Varnashram Dharma, there is every possibility of real life and prosperity both in this world and in the next. So, Varnashram Dharma is like a helium balloon. So, Krishna consciousness is like the support. Without the support of Krishna consciousness, the helium balloon will be lost somewhere. So, Varnashram Dharma and the moral codes are like the booster rocket. Once the rocket is put on the orbit, the booster rockets, they provide the proper platform. They provide the booster rockets, they place the rocket in the particular orbit, and then the booster rocket actually comes down. So because we are not able to directly transcend the three modes of nature, so Varnashram Dharma helps a person to transcend the three modes of nature. Once a person is properly situated in Krishna consciousness, one transcends even Varnashram. Varnashram Dharma is like a bridge. A bridge is required to cross the river. One should neither make a house in the bridge, and one should not think that I don't need the bridge, I can cross without the bridge. One should use the bridge for the purpose of crossing. Varnashram Dharma is like a staircase. One cannot make a house in the staircase and stay in the staircase, nor can a person think that, oh, I can jump to the first floor without the staircase. I can just directly jump. Only Hanumanji could do like that. All the common people, they need Varnashram Dharma. So therefore, in the transcendental platform, there is no need of Varnashram. But even they have to perform Varnashram to set example for others. But when a person is in the three modes of nature, one needs Varnashram. So like that. And then further we'll see next class. We'll see only 4 shlokas today. Next week we'll go faster. Correct.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Correct.
Yeah. So I was just open Gita and this 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge, in which Prabhupada says that the king of all planets, especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. So this is that internal enemy. Is that is like when you say rogues and also this is also one of the internal enemies, that the king should protect the citizens from material bondage to lust.
Yes. That is the internal enemy in the heart. Because in the verse which we are reading, that internal enemy from the government, from the rogue ministers. So from the internal enemy in the heart, from the Kama Krodha, the king should facilitate people practicing devotional service, people practicing Varnashram Dharma. Proper education should be there. Proper systems should be there, so people can easily practice Bhakti, Varnashram Dharma, Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Even when yourself mentioned that dharma, artha, kam, moksha, that it's becoming subordinate to dharma. It's it's like, if you are well established in your finance and all, you could do even chanting, or you could do any of your spiritual activities with ease. But then the common people are only, taxed heavily, and they are not having the basic necessities. Then definitely they are going to move towards more, like, all these things which you mentioned, that you get into this scheme where you get some 1,000 rupees or something. But if you are, financially well off, if there is justice, there is taxation is being taken care of, then the common people also will automatically be drawn to dharma. This is what I don't know.
Yeah, dharmasya moolam artha. Sukasya moolam dharmaha. Dharmasya moolam artha. These are the first two sutras of Arthashastra. The basis of happiness is dharma. But even to practice dharma, you need a certain artha. You need certain financial stability. So therefore, financial situation is also important. The financial situation is stable, then a person is able to peacefully think of dharma. But when somebody is really struggling with the basic necessities, then he's not able to think of dharma. He's not able to think of any satsanga, etc. Even the devatas, they told Hiranyakashipu, they told Narasimhadev, because of the fear of Hiranyakashipu, you are unable to think of you. All the time, our mind was only occupied with the thoughts of Hiranyakashipu. But now, since you have killed Hiranyakashipu, our hearts, which are like a lotuses, they have become blossomed in the presence of the sun, like you. So therefore, yeah, bhakti is independent of everything. But on a practical level, people need a certain financial stability even to practice dharma, even to practice bhakti and dharma in a sustained way, in a focused way. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we'll end here.
Prabhuji, one more thing. This Yamuna Maharani, like, she's daughter of is it a mountain called, like, she had another name, Kalindi or something, right? So is she a daughter of mountain Kalinga, something like that, or she's sun god's daughter? Like, what is it?
Yamaraj's daughter.
Yamaraj's sister or daughter?
Yamaraj's sister.
Sister, right?
Sister.
Yeah. But who's the father of
Yamuna?
yeah. Another name for Yamuna Maharani is Kalindi. Is it Kalindi?
Kalindi is one of the wife of Krishna.
Okay. So her father is sun, Suryadev? Yamuna Maharani.
Suryadev.
Yeah, Suryadev. Okay. But is there a mountain called Kalinga or something like that?
No, but I'm not aware.
You know, okay. I was hearing a lecture in that. Okay.
Okay, we'll stop here.